Okay, so you have uploaded your data and you have converted into SAS format. But before you start anything with your data, you would like to at least eyeball and visually see your data. To do that, you can go to Task and Utilities. Under Task, under Data, look for List Data and double click on it. That will open up a wizard in the middle pane. Then under Data tab, under Data, make sure that the correct data set is selected. If not, you can just click on the table icon on the right and then navigate to the data set that you want to preview. In this case, it is FHS underscore lib and heart data set. And we see at the bottom, the correct selections are there. So we hit OK. And then under roles, under list variables, I am going to click on the add button, this plus button on the top right. And then I will select the variables of my interest. In this case, I want to see, say, age, chronic heart disease. So what you can do is you can press and hold control button and keep clicking on the variables you want to see. So age, chronic heart disease diagnosed, age at start. I also want to see sex, male or female. And let's see, maybe the smoking status, the weight status, maybe the systolic and diastolic blood pressures. Once I have all the variables of my interest selected, I will hit OK. And I can also rearrange them. For example, I want age at the start to be the first variable in the table. So I'm going to select it and then move it up. Rest of the options I'm going to leave blank for now. I'll go to Options tab, leaving everything as default, but the only thing which I want to change is the number of rows I want to view. I'm going to view, say, first 100 and not first 10. I want to view first 100 to get a better sense of my data. Once I have all the selections made, I can just quickly look at the code which has been created by SAS for me. Proc print data, here is the data set, and I'm going to visually see only the first 100 variable of observations. And here are all the variables which will be shown, and as it is customary in SAS, all the steps, they end up in run followed by a semicolon. And I do not expect any errors in this code because this is created by SAS itself. So I'm gonna hit submit, and you see this button with this small window and arrow flying away from it. If you click on it, it will open up your data set of your results in a separate window. And here is the data set which it has created. If you go back to your code tab, you will see that the code for viewing your data set is pretty simple. It's proc print data, then the name of the data, the number of observations you want to see, and then the list of the variables you want to see, ending up in run followed by a semicolon. So let's write this down by hand. We can create open up a new program by function F4, but in this case, I would like to write it in my previously saved program here, heart.sas. You remember we created the lib name statement. So I'm going to write the code for viewing my data, which is proc. And as you can see, SAS is giving me the prompt, what I'm going to write, proc print, data equals FHS, dot heart, and in parentheses I'm going to write observation equals 100, parentheses closed, semicolon, and then in the next line it is customary to hit tab, so you can see the next statement. It looks a little neater. So I'm gonna write variables. Now I can type all the variables that I want to include, like sex and all that. But an easier way is that I go back to the libraries and pick up all the variables from there. My libraries, FHS score lib is my hard data set. I'm gonna click on the arrowhead next to hard data set to open it up, and we'll choose all the variables that I want to view. You can press and hold control button if you want to select multiple variables and choose them in the order you want to see them. For example, I want to see age at start as my first variable in the output, age at the time when chronic heart disease was diagnosed as the second one, um, maybe BP status, there's systolic and diastolic blood pressures, and maybe there's smoking status. Then I can leave the control button and just drag and drop all these variables in front of the var statement. And it is customary to end all the statements with semicolon, and in the next line I'm gonna write run to end the whole step. Now, if I run this code, it's going to run both these steps, lib name step and then the proc print step. But I just want this step to be executed, so I'm going to highlight it and then submit the code. Okay, so it has given me exactly the same or similar table. I'm going to open it up in a separate tab to visually see it in detail. We want to know more about our data set and want to dig deeper. So we'll use list data attributes or proc content. Go to task and utilities. Under task, under data, double click on list table attributes, sorry, not data attributes, list table attributes. Under data tab, under data, make sure that the correct data set is selected. Under the options tab, we're going to keep the default options and we'll just submit the code. Okay, we're going to open it up in a separate window and make it a little bigger so we can get more information about our data set. The name, as we already know, FHS underscore lib.heart, and then there are 5,209 observations, 17 variables as we saw previously. The rest of the information is not that much of our interest. We do see that this has recently been created, and in the second table we have all our variables listed. We're here, if you remember previously, we asked SAS to create them alphabetically, and that's what exactly it did. The variables are listed alphabetically: age at death, age at start, age, chronic heart disease diagnosed, BP status, and so on. And it is also providing the type of that data. For example, age at death is a numerical variable. We'll talk more about the type of data, but just take a look at this. First three are numerical variables, BP status, the character variable, and so on. Length, we are going to skip this. Basically, it is providing the length of the variables in that column. Format, again, we're not going to go in the details of the SAS formats and format. And here is the label. So what happened is that you can see that the variables and the labels are the same here. But in some cases, these might be different. Unlike Excel, which will allow you any length of headers, SAS has some restrictions. It does not allow more than 32 characters for each of the header, and it doesn't allow any other than alphanumeric characters or underscore. It doesn't allow asterisk. It doesn't even allow a space in between. So if in this case, because all the variables were already according to the SAS format, so we see that the labels and the variables are the same. But in case if the variable was, say, cholesterol space status, um, in the label, what SAS will assign that space would be an underscore and so on. And it will cut the length of the header to 32 characters also. But in this case, because as I said, they were already in the SAS format, we do not see the difference between the label and variable here. Just in case you're interested, the code for table attributes is also very simple. It's just like proc contents data, and call fhs.lib.hard semicolon, and just hit run. Sorry, and type run semicolon, select this code and submit it, and we should get us similar results here. In fact, one additional table. The first table is the same, and the third table is the same, but we have some additional information in the middle table. Not very useful, but just an extra thing to have.